All right. So I want to chat a little bit about something that is being kept in many different traditions, separated from what people talk to students or from people. And this comes from different sources, even including church, Catholic Church, Hinduism, Buddhism, a lot of different religions. And that is the concept of greatness and the concept of richness. Those two concepts are
Oh,
very,
excuse me.
yes,
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was mute. Wasn't.
right. Those both concepts are very well known. Everybody hears me well?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Both two concepts are known very, very well. And not only known, there are techniques and there are ways to improve greatness and to become rich at the same time. And I was thinking, okay, which approach should I use to share this? But I think I'm going to go through one of the most simplistic ways, which is teachings that come from the Shaolin monks. When I was a monk, we do uh, check notes from one tradition to another, because even though it's always the same, this particular thing in Hinduism is a little bit complicated, which is a little bit of my background with the Vedas knowledge. They have Sarasvati and different goddesses to represent richness, but opulence. But richness and greatness is more than that. It is just the ability to be able to provide in quality and quantity that is needed, that it is meant to be for you. And you always know it in your heart what it is. And the reason they keep it aside and the reason they don't share it and it's not very open is because of the that seems contradictory with the ego, with the humbleness, with the retreat, with being not in need of anything. So when it comes to richness and greatness, it does have a material manifestation. Material manifestation is the easiest part to work on. You just have to work hard. I mean, see all the people working in the corporate world. You just go to school, work hard, and you get it. But the internal part of it, it is what has a little bit more to do with a different type of work. So there are five different reasons or five different barriers where the Shaolin monks found that are creating a separation between full richness and full abundance and greatness. The first one is the senses, the five senses that we have, the need that we have to have a direct experience with our senses. So that desire to always touch it, smell it, feel it, and to have it there for us to feel it true, to believe it true, that creates a limitation. So through higher consciousness, through meditation, you remove the need to that. And you become by now, all of you that have practiced for some time, you become like an antenna. You can feel other ways. You can see other ways. You can know other ways. And a lot of the things that you have shared during all these sessions in these weeks, every week, doesn't come from one or two of the senses. It just comes from intuition. It comes from a cognition, from something that is deep inside. The other one, it's all kinds of feelings related to reject, to hostility, to resentment, hatred, or bitterness. These things are have been learned to be normal to the human nature, but it is a construct. It's something that we learn. It's part of our construct society to be sure who is who and what is where. So that creates a blockage because let's say you have a message, you have a news, and you don't like it. We reject, we fight, we push, and we become a little bit bitter about it. So that's one of the other bigger blocks to greatness and richness. Once we learn that no matter what, you can be in your heart smiling, it doesn't have to be a physical smile or anything, you just have a contentment, be okay with what is happening. there is a revelation of greatness and richness that is all there available. The other one is more related to the physical body, and in Sanskrit, I'm more familiar with it. It's called tamas. It's the energy that makes you feel heavy, and all of us have feel it. The reason why we procrastinate, the reason why we might not go out, the reason why we might have an experience of depression or anxiety. It is that sensation of pressing. It's just like gravity pushing you down, or like a power compressing your heart and your soul in a small bottle. That is also one of those things that when you meditate breaks that bottle, or uncovers that thing blocking it, and opens up the experience from that heaviness, from that compression, to going outside. That's why I did an exercise today where, in your experience, you go through your body, which is a bottle, and find greatness. And at least the two examples that I hear, when I ask, where did you find greatness? You went to the second exercise, not to the first one. You went to the universe. So you were able, by this time, with meditation and with our talks, to identify immediately the way where greatness and richness. And if you are religious, is God, is the maximum thing of all, is the creation, is the magic, is the beginning and the end, the promise, the hope. Is there is where the greatness and the richness is. The next one is the inability to calm the mind, and the inability of most people to not be able to put the mind to rest, to give it a break. And this sounds a little restrictive, all of this. This sounds a little bit hard to attain, or a little bit hard on how to get. But in reality, it's what our mind does naturally. It doesn't matter what type of experience we have. Our mind at any point is always going to be to the stillest part, even if it's just for 25 seconds a day, which in fact in a biological clock has to switch off completely for at least 45 minutes to an hour or 2 hours when we go to sleep. If we don't do it by the fifth day, we are in a high risk of having a heart attack. So it's a natural mechanic of the mind. So the reason it is not longer than 1 hour, than 35 minutes or 2 hours, it's that we are not allowing the mind to go there when it is always constantly trying to get there. So this is just part of what I have talked about in terms of states of consciousness, where a state of consciousness is not something that you chase or that you go into or that you decide. You just allow it to happen. Like when you wake up, you don't decide to wake up. You allow your body to wake up. You don't decide to fall asleep. You let your body to fall asleep. And the other one is the lack of conviction or trust, doubting. Um, when we work with we have two different parts that work, and I'm going to symbolize it, one with the heart and the other one with the mind. One is thinking, planning, and finding the way to do. It's like a tool. And the other one, it's the passion. It's telling you what to do. So when those two things are disconnected, there is doubt. There is a lack of conviction. So in my own experience, and I think at this point, this is the easiest way to go through this, is through my own experience. It is when it comes to a point to make a decision, when I see that there is this or the other and the two choices, and it's confusing, it is my mind only trying to get the decision. The decision is not taken by the mind. The mind creates the alternatives. The mind finds those available decisions, but the decision needs to be taken by the heart. So it's a moment where you calm the mind down. Sometimes I even say, thank you, mind. You found those alternatives. Stop. I don't need you anymore. It's time to make a decision. So I am going to make a decision. So those are the five main roadblocks to greatness and richness. So we don't have to memorize it. We don't have to learn it. I guess at this point, what I'm trying to do is only to describe it as it has been the experience of all of you, and I have seen it. I have seen your experience going through beyond the five feelings. I have feel it how allowing, I mean, we wouldn't be meeting here every week if you were not okay with to stop rejecting. You all okay? You have all learned to be okay with whatever is happening in the movie in meditation. The same thing happens with dullness. Like, I mean, you are here today. It's Wednesday night. A lot of you might have had a really busy week, and you have managed somehow to be present, to be here, to show up to a meditation class. And this is just a meditation session, but I am sure that in these different aspects of your life, you are showing up, you are being present. And the same thing happens with calming the mind. Like, you are okay. I've seen how easy, and I've had really a great opportunity to spend time with Andrew and Jamie, and on the phone with Sylvia, not very often. And I see, like, okay, my mind is getting calm. And the same thing with thought. And this is the most tricky one, but that could be a complete um, a whole talk about how to overcome that lack of conviction, of that trust. But the easy response to how to overcome that one is always go back to the same basic instruction. When we go into meditation, close your eyes, throw the technique, and just watch. When it comes to life, the only thing that you do is listen to your heart, see where it is going, and just do it. One of the reasons that we have lack of conviction or lack of trust is because we fear that the result is not going to be what we want. But we have already learned to be okay when things don't go the way that we want. So the first step, the first barrier to overcome is already done. And that is what will end up in the same result for the last one. So every time we feel a lack of conviction, a lot of trust, just go back to it. Just go back to the basic, and make it part of the practice. Now, there are different ways of how you can do this. One is just studying, learning it, and applying it. The other one is to neuro linguistic programming, like repeat statements. Those two are very effective. Now, with meditation, we've been doing this for about a year, and with Natalia 13 years. I don't think I have talked about this before, because until before I was trying to still not agree but still be okay that it is too much contradiction when we are teaching the mind to release the ego and to not be chasing richness and abundance. And that is because it makes it easier to get there. But once you are there, I mean, we have Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and we have a bunch of others that have created so much abundance. And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, he had, he materialized it. He never touched money, but he's the one that had an entire city, the Vedic city. He was the guru of the Beatles. And there was a lot of money under his name in the bank account, but he was true to his vows to never touch money. He never did. Osho, and many others. So those are only examples of people that are no more than just humans, the same way that you and the same way that me. The only difference is none. It's actually none. Abundance and richness is there here and now. Material, no material, solvency, not solvency, but that is here and now and is present. We want more, our heart wants more. Go through those five um, checks when we kind of block ourselves. Use your technique. The technique is magical, with eyes open, with closed eyes. And that technique is going to take you right to the first step, to the first point where any of those barriers are not there anymore, or at least minimize it. How does it sound for you?